Good evening, and welcome to this evening's entertainment extravaganza. I hope you're as excited as I am. Before we begin, we understand that some of you may feel a bit insecure about your part that you have to play in this evening's entertainment extravaganza. That's perfectly understandable. The performers have been working on their acts for upwards of 2-3 days, whereas this is your first time together as an audience. Because of that, we have made this instructional film for you entitled, How to Be an Audience. Tonight you've come to see humor. What is humor? Humor is something, when observed, elicits laughter. There are many forms of laughter, such as the titter, ha, the guffaw, ha ha, the convulsion, ha ha ha. Now you try. Excellent. And with simple laughter, it makes the entire evening worthwhile for the performer. However, some audience members, such as yourself, may feel the need to do more than simply laugh. They may feel the need to applaud, like so. Now you try. Excellent. And with laughter and applause, it makes the entire evening all worthwhile for the performer. However, some discerning audience members, such as yourself, may feel the need to do more than simply laugh and applaud. These extremely good-looking audience members sometimes feel the need to give a standing ovation, like so. Simply stand and ovate. Now you try. Excellent. And so with laughter, applause, and a standing ovation, it makes the entire evening worthwhile for our performers. However, some very good-looking audience members may feel the need to do more. In such cases, it is not unusual for audience members, such as yourself, to throw money and not coins, because they hurt. Any large denomination from your wallet will do. Simply wad and throw. That's all there is to it. Simply wad and throw. Isn't that fun? Do it with me. Wad and throw. Now you try. Now you try. We'll work on that. And so with laughter and applause and a standing ovation and some of your higher denomination bills, these things make it all worthwhile for the performer. However, some really good-looking and intelligent audience members feel the need sometimes to do even more for the performer. It is not unheard of for these patrons of the arts to send real estate holdings, mutual funds, stocks, and bonds to our performer. Don't talk to anyone. You know what to do. Just listen to the sound of my voice. And when you wake up, you will remember nothing. 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 And so now, with laughter and applause, a standing ovation, your higher denominations, and all your earthly belongings, these things make the show worthwhile for our performer. And you, the audience member who now knows what to do, can sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Good evening.
Put your hands together for Mr. Robert G. Lee. Okay, so here's the thing. My mind does not work in the same way as other people's minds work. It just goes off in random directions. But at the same time, I'm excessively compulsive and orderly. So tonight, I would like to give you completely random thoughts, but in alphabetical order. A. It's almost like I planned this out. A is for anatomy. Now, there's a name for everything, but some people seem to be embarrassed by certain parts of the anatomy. My parents were the worst. They had a code name for everything. We'd be sitting at dinner, my mom would say, "Did you hear about Bernice? She had her you-know-what?" And somehow my dad understood her. Really? I didn't think your you-know-what could be. Oh, no, that's worse than the hoo-hoo. It was like I was living in a spy movie. I had no idea how anything was done when my brother was born. I had no idea my mother was even pregnant until the day she brought him home. It's like, well, where did he come from? So my dad took me aside and said, do you remember how sick your mom's been lately? What, did she throw him up? B. B is for babies. Babies are the greatest evangelical tool that God ever made. I'll prove it. Get a baby, whole bunch of baby gear, go on any airplane, and I guarantee you, even if it's filled with people going to an atheist convention, every head is going down. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, don't let them sit next to me. Oh, sweet blood of Jesus. Oh, dear God, let them move on. And as they go down the aisle, you hear what I call the ooh-ah wave. People in front of you go, ooh. People behind you go, ah. What is it about babies that make total strangers come over and ask if they can hold your child? I don't know you. This is the most precious thing in the world to me. Here. Do we do this with anyone else? Oh, your wife is gorgeous. May I hold her? Come on, give us a kiss. Give us a kiss. Give us a kiss. C is for ceremonies. Now, who decides which major milestones in life have to be viewed publicly? Now, weddings, I understand. You have to declare your love publicly, so it's harder to weasel out of it later on. That makes sense to me. But ladies, you should know, at any wedding, at any given time, there's only one guy who really wants to be there. And he's only putting up with it to get to the honeymoon. Because the rest of us are, Ave Maria. That was a beautiful ceremony. That was beautiful. That was lovely. But why do we have to watch graduation ceremonies? I mean, if I'm going to waste 4 hours of my life to watch you pick up a piece of paper, you should be giving me the gift. Okay. Graduation ceremonies for college and high school, those are fine. But then it went down to 8th grade. And now kindergartners. are having graduation ceremonies. We're praising children for gluing. There should not be a valedictorian of napping. There are limits to self-esteem building, people. How far is this going to go? And now we're going to see why Timmy graduated first in his class at potty training you. Go for it, Timmy. Go ahead. D is for dumb, as in just dumb. When my daughter was in 5th grade, she had to build a science project for a science fair. And she was furious because I made her do it by herself. Now, I'm not moral or anything. Just in her 4th grade class, I spent about 3 weeks putting together a California mission out of sugar cubes, and I only got a C- on it, so I was not going there again. But this science fair was like a living testimony to man's never-ending ability to help his children cheat. Oh, the scientific knowledge of these 10-year-olds was amazing. There were exhibits on molecular cloning, hydrogen cars. There was a combo nuclear reactor easy bake oven. It cooked your cookies in about 2 seconds, but they glowed. It was a very nice exhibit. But there was one exhibit that I'll never forget. We walked around the corner, we saw it. And it was made by someone who obviously remembered that morning that the science fair was that night. They had ripped out the sign of a cardboard box, just ripped it out, and written in crayon, "Why things float." That's all it said, nothing else, just why things float. And below it was a bucket full of water with a rubber duck in it. And for some reason, there was no name attached. It was like a shrine to the unknown procrastinator. And from that point on, anytime we ever saw something stupid, we go, "That's about as dumb as a duck in a bucket." Look at that right there. E is for education. Now, it may surprise some of you to know that I was kind of a smart aleck. And as such, I spent the majority of my early learning years out in the hallway. And I was homeschooled, which is what really, really hurt. My entire life was like a Charlie Brown cartoon. Wah, 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 wah. So I learned nothing. I knew nothing. When I finally got to public school, I just realized that teachers don't appreciate the way my brain works. Our science teacher told us that warm air rises. I said, "Well, then shouldn't you be vacationing at Mount Everest?" "I'll be in the hall." All right. My gym teacher told us that we should respect him because he had his master's in physical education. I said, "Well, then call us when you get your doctorate in dodgeball." I did laps for a year for that one. Yeah, that was it. See, why is it that we have whole wings devoted to things like athletics and math? If you tell jokes, you're in the hall. If you were to find the comedians of tomorrow, go to any school, look down the hall. "You, funny boy, come here, let's go." And see, I understand it. I understand that teachers cannot laugh in class because they'll lose control. Okay, fine. But what you don't know is when you're a kid, after class, the teachers go to the teacher's lounge and they tell the other teachers your joke. And they laugh. I was in the hall. Total strangers come by. "That was funny, Bobby. I like that a lot. That was a good joke." Who are you? When I grew up, school was free. It was great. But now my kids, I live in LA. I've got to put them in private school. I mean, I know I'm picky, but when they graduate, I sort of want them to be able to read. It's just me. Figured that might be a hot button with somebody. All right, so. But you see, private schools drive me crazy because I spend a fortune to keep them in private school. But every other week, they have a new fundraiser. I have enough wrapping paper to cover the Western Hemisphere. I have enough band candy to feed Central Africa. I have Time magazine until Christ comes back. That's what it says on the label, until Christ comes back. F is for female plumbing. Men, I have two words of advice for you on this. Beware. Do not try to understand what the other half of the species goes through. You cannot. They have a full reproductive system. You do not. You just have a starter set. Now, this amazing miracle of technology is even scientists say that it's so complicated that it would have taken about 5 million years longer to evolve than the male reproductive system. How did that work? Did the men just sort of hang around for 5 million years? Are you done yet? We'll be hunting. You evolve. You call us when you're done. Good. Dumb as a duck in a bucket. I'm sorry. But the problems associated with this miracle of engineering, they're endless. From cramping to all the, endometriosis, which is basically barnacles from what I understand. That's just uncomfortable. I know it makes you go, ha, ha, ha. To the problems and the joys of childbirth. I'm just so... When my son was born, he came out holding a note for my wife's bladder. It said, injured in the line of duty. Please send reinforcements. So, men, as you leave tonight, just whoever you're with, the lady, just go, I'm so sorry, and then run! G. G is for God. I have irrefutable proof that God exists. He knows I'm an idiot, and yet he still loves me. Case closed. There we go. See, I think our culture is entirely too casual with the thought of God. If you look in the Hebrew scriptures, they would not even put vowels in his name because they respected him so much. Which, of course, got my brain to thinking, I wonder what would have happened if God would have appeared to the Hawaiians first. His name would have had nothing but vowels. We worship you, Jehovah Laka Aka 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 Ah 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 Ah. I don't think God will send me to hell for that one. I think he's just going to put me out in the hall. All right, here I go. H is for hair. Now, I have to explain this. I'm so upset that you work your whole life to get somewhere. And when you finally get there, your hair decides it's not coming with you. I mean, I've still got most of mine, but my forehead's a lot higher than it used to be. I don't so much comb my hair as sculpted now. And I was kind of complaining about this one night in a set, and the lady came up to me after the show and said, well, you know, your hair falling out is just the same as a woman's bosom sagging. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't believe your bosom falls off. I don't believe you wake up in the morning and find a bosom on your pillow. You don't take off your brassiere and find a bosom in it. No one has ever accused you of having a bad bosom over. No, yours stay in the same general vicinity. Mine leave. If my hair was just sagging, I'd walk around in a wonder hat, okay? Dumb as a duck in a bucket, I swear on that one there. I is for inventions. I'm very curious as to who invented our stuff. But not the big stuff. I don't care about the cars and the phone, that kind of stuff. That doesn't matter to me. I want to know who invented Jell-O and bagpipes. Now, it may shock you to know that Jell-O, of course, is made from gelatin, but gelatin is made from cow and horse hooves. Who invented that? Bunch of cowboys sitting around going, you know, I'll bet you we've eaten that whole cow. But if we take them hooves, grind them up, add cherry flavoring, sliced bananas, some water, and then freeze it. We got dessert. Bagpipes. Do you know what bagpipes are? They were made from sheep's bladders. Who invented that? Hey, McGillicuddy. There's a pint in it for you. If you'll blow in that sheep's bladder and squeeze it so it sounds like Amazing Grace. Well, of course the sheep's alive. That's what the pint is for. Ba 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 ba. J is for jerks. I think the world has too many jerks. And the problem is most jerks don't know that they are jerks. They think that everybody else is a jerk. And by the way, if that's what you think, you're probably a jerk. I think we need a standardized jerk test. Something everybody could take so you would know where you fall on the jerk scale. Don't you think? Just taking the test alone would prove so much. Honey, do I constantly condescend or belittle? Like you would know. What is jerkishness? Jerkiosity is its root cause is plain and simple. It's selfishness. That's all it is. Just selfishness, plain and simple. Big jerks are just little spoiled brats all grown up. And I know this because, all right, I'll admit it. Hi, my name's Robert. I'm a jerk. You were a little off back there, but thank you. Sorry, jerk came out. See, I don't mean to be a jerk. I don't want to be a jerk. Things just irritate me. I was in the airport the other day, standing in a long line that was caused by the jihad jerks. And they made me take off my shoes because of the shoe bomber jerk. And I was about this close to just letting it fly when I thought to myself, I should count my blessings because he could have been the underwear bomber. And then the line would have been so much longer. Oh, yeah. A lot more interesting, but a lot longer. K is for kids. I have 2 kids. I brought 2 kids in the world. I can honestly say that is the best thing I've ever done. They're right over there. I do nothing else. It's that I brought 2 wonderful children into this world. I love them. They're just fantastic. But I am surprised, really, to this day, that my daughter made it into her 20s. Because as a teenager, she almost died of embarrassment several times. Wouldn't that be hilarious if kids really did die of embarrassment? Susie, is that your dad? Where? They fall over. Parents are arrested for involuntary manslaughter. Officer, I just went to get the paper in my underwear. Shut up, tell it to the judge. Get out of here. All right, there we go. As she was growing up, as my daughter was growing up, it was rather tumultuous, shall we say. Because she'd say black, I'd say white, we'd lock horns. Just so much fun. And during one particularly joyful time, she gave my wife and myself a card and a cassette and said, just get dressed up and go. So, well, what? Just get dressed up and go. We got dressed up, we got in the car, and we opened up the card, and in it was $20 for the cover charge for a jazz club we've been talking about going to. We put the cassette in, and it said everything that she couldn't say to us. She said, look, I know it's been hard. We've been fighting a lot lately, but I just wanted to let you know I love you. I'm glad you're my parents. Everything's going to be fine. It's like, wow. That is what makes it all worthwhile. And then we came home and found out she'd thrown a huge party at our house that night. But I was okay because it was so sweet, I thought, what she did. My son turned 16 and became macho, and he wants to be a cop in L.A. I've spent a fortune on private schools trying to keep him away from gangs. Now that's the first job he wants to go in there. I'm telling you, when you're a dad, I was not ready to be a dad. I just got married. I wasn't even thinking about kids. But when you have kids, man, it just breaks your heart open and fills it up with so much love. You don't know how to express it, don't know how to feel. It's fantastic. But despite all the rewards of being a dad, I can say, without fear of contradiction, that if the Apostle Paul had teenagers, Christianity would have been nipped in the bud. We're going to Corinth again? We just got back from Ephesus. Everywhere we go, you're beaten, you're robbed, you're stoned. You know how embarrassing that is? Why don't you just write these people? That's not a bad idea, young lady. That's not... L. L is for listening. How many of you women think that men are good listeners? Doesn't really count, men, if you hold up the hand of the woman you're with. That doesn't really work. Okay, let's admit it. We are not good listeners. But let me tell you why. It's because we're so anxious to give you the answer to your problem that all that talking in beforehand just gets in the way. Let me give you an image to try to understand this. Yes, we're not good listeners, but just imagine us as if we're a dog with a biscuit on our nose. That's what we are. So when you're talking to us, dog, biscuit on our nose. Because you're going, and then she said blah, 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 and I said blah, 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 and we're going. And then she said blah, 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 blah. Uh-huh. And then I said blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. Okay, solve it. Here's what you do. Now, on the heels of listening comes love. I'm so tired of hearing about people in love. We love each other. We love... Shut up. I've been married for 22 years. Love is not Hallmark cards and flowers. You know what love is? Love is hard. Love does not insist on its own way. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love hopes all things, believes all things, endures all things. That's hard. If people tell you it's not, they lie. I hate those songs that say it'll last all night long. They lie. If you want to find out about love, find out who's somebody who's been in it for years and years. Who here's been married more than 500 years? Okay, we'll lower it. 40 to 50. 40 to 50 years. Who's been married more? Over there. Okay. We'll do front row. How many years? 42. All right. Secret to your success? You have no speech ability, evidently. That's just... They just looked at each other and went, "Roll?" Just nothing better to do. Why are we married? I have no idea. Why am I married to you? I don't know. I don't know why either. 42. Well, there's nowhere else to go. Let's stay together. All right, there we go. That gives me such hope for my own marriage. Thank you so much for that. All right, who's been married the shortest period of time? Still has that new car smell? A year, 2 years? Anywhere in there? All the way in the back. When did you fall in love with her? Oh, you're getting divorced now. I'm sorry, no. I gave you just enough time. No clue, no clue. You wonder why marriages can't stay together. It's communication, people. I just want to hear a realistic love song. That's all I want to hear. By someone who's been in it for a long time. I love you. You love me. I've lost most of my memory.
42 years, and I have no idea why. We were young, now I'm old and fat. Let's fool around, have a heart attack.
M. M is for musicals and monks. When thou'st a monk, all the way from thy first genuflect to thy last praying day. When thou'st a monk, let 'em say what they can. Thou hast brothers around, thou'st a sanctified man. We're down on our knees, our rosaries are clicking, confessions are breathed, and every son of Satan beeth a lousy chicken. Here cometh the monks like a bat out of hell. Someone curseth our Lord, someone don't feel so well. Here cometh the monks, better run, better hide. Our outfits are dressed so we've got us no pride. We're drawing the line, our virtue can't be hidden. We're hanging a sign, says women are forbidden, and we beeth not kidding. Here cometh the monks, well, what more can we say? We all had careers, but we gave them away. When thou'st a monk, thou stayest a monk. N, coincidentally, is for nuns. I did a show for a group of nuns one time, or a gaggle of nuns, I'm not sure of the exact term. And they were out of full uniform. I mean, they weren't nudist nuns, but they were like in half a habit or a demi-wimple. I don't know what you call it, but they were very casual. It's casual Sunday. And I asked them, what do you do all day? And they said they get up at 4 a.m. to pray. 4 a.m.? Ladies, you're married to God. Sleep in. They excommunicated me. I said, I'm Protestant. Can you do that? Shut up, get in the hall right now. I mean, all right, there we go. O is for the Olympics. Now, I don't know if you've heard this, but they are thinking of making bowling an Olympic sport. Oh, that'll be exciting. Maybe I'm a purist, but I don't know, for something to be considered a sport, more than 3 of your fingers have to sweat. I think bowling would be okay if you were trying to knock down somebody else's pins. Or if there was a bowling goalie. Don't you think? A bowlie, if you will. Or if you had to throw the ball overhanded. Or if they had to bowl in the middle of the archery range, I might watch. P is for Presbyterian. God love us, but we are the most boring people on the planet. I don't know if it's our fault or not, but legally, our services cannot go more than 1 hour, because if they do, epidemics of narcolepsy start breaking out. Presbyterians don't pray a lot because we're afraid if enough of us pray at one time, God will nod off and the universe will go careening out of control. So if you see the headline, Presbyterian Revival, you'll know end of universe imminent. Our church was trying to buck the trend a little bit, and they wanted to kind of change the image, so they put me on the pastor nominating committee. They wanted to make sure that the incoming pastor had a sense of humor. Because statistically, very few people have ever been bored into the faith. Praise God, I've been bored again. No, it just doesn't work that way. Seriously, our denomination is declining so fast. We're on the endangered species list. It's just scary right now. It is. If you find us, you're supposed to tag us and release us into the wild. like you would ever find us in the wild. Q is for questions. I have questions, things that keep me up at night that I can't figure out. Like, can a schizophrenic use the carpool lane? Do pygmies refer to each other as pig-use? If Mickey Mouse got sick and they couldn't find a cure, would they put him in suspended animation? Shouldn't Christian Scientists have to wear lab coats to church? To be politically correct, shouldn't we call all murderers post-life experience facilitators? And finally, if a woman's angry all the time, are we allowed to say she's habitual? Evidently not. R is for the rapture. Now, those of you who are not up in your biblical studies will soon learn that the rapture is the day that the Lord comes back, rolls up his sleeves, calls back his homies, and then unleashes the grapes of wrath on everybody that's left. Those that are left have to read all the Left Behind books, which is hell for them. The other R is for relationships. Now, I love the fact that God made us, man and woman, totally opposite beings and said, now, go live together, be fruitful and multiply, but try not to kill each other. And in the entire time of history, every single man has been asked the very same question by every single woman, and not a single man has ever had a satisfactory answer. It is simply, what are you thinking? Men, there's only one answer to this. You grab your heart, fake a heart attack, and fall over and die. Some guys new to the romance game, they get sucked into this. And they say what they think the woman wants to hear. I was thinking how much I love you. Don't do that. Women are not stupid. They ask the follow-up question. How much do you love me? And then it's deer in headlights time. You're not as fat as your sister? I'll be in the hall. S is for spiritual giants. Now, when you get to heaven, if you're on the home team, you get up there and you get a brand new body, which is fantastic. And I figure the spiritual giants here become literal giants up there. So the more good deeds here, the taller you are in heaven. That makes sense, doesn't it? So people like Billy Graham and Mother Teresa are like 60-foot tall giants. And the rest of us are walking around like the Munchkins going, we represent the people who sin, the people who sin, the people who sin. T is for therapy. Specifically couples therapy. Now, I've been married for 20 years. I was one of those guys that always thought my marriage was fine, would never have any problems. My wife never complained about a thing. Just turns out she was storing up ammunition. Because when she let me have it, I needed therapy. Anyway, it was very tough finding you have to find the right guy that's good for both of you. Our first therapist was so old, I felt like I was being coached by Yoda. Love her you must, romance her you will. All right, no, not him. Our next guy just made us do all the talking. Like, oh, great, just put a biscuit on my nose. And then he blah, 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 blah. I can defend that. Our last guy was great. He told us the answer. It's hard. Statistically, the reason most marriages fail is that it's hard. You want to know the reason? It took me 2 years to find this out. The number one reason marriages stay together. Know what it is? It is that men do what the women want. I don't see a lot of men clapping here for that one. I don't see... The scientific term for that is if mommy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. That's it. Just shut up, give up, and do what she wants. That's it. I mean, it took a long time for it to sink in my heart, but I found you were supposed to love your wife the way that Christ loved the world, which means you would die for her. Before therapy, I would have said, you first. But now I have been redeemed. I would gladly die for my wife because it means that I would be through with couples therapy. U is for underwear. 3 types of underwear. Your foundation garments, your tighty-whities, your... Now, my wife seems to be okay with category 1 and 2, but category 3 is starting to upset her. Every time a catalog from Victoria's Secret comes in, she gets upset. And seriously, what's the secret anyway? Victoria just likes to walk around with her hanging out. Yeah, we know that. And so she looks at these catalogs and says, well, you probably just want me to look like those models, don't you? Sweetheart. Duh. It's pretty obvious why we need the therapy, isn't it? Yeah. V is for vacations. Now, when I was growing up in the Midwest, vacations were not taken for fun. They were looked forward to with fear and trepidation. They were designed to make you appreciate your drab, middle-class existence. At the height of summer, we would cram in a car, stacked to the ceiling with luggage, drive 5 straight days to Lake Mosquito, get out, get sunburned, get rained on, turn around, drive 5 straight days back, take 1 bathroom break, the whole trip cost $1. That was vacation. When you got home, you kissed the ground, you were so happy to be back. These were not vacations, they were death marches. They were used to weed out the weaker children. I used to have several other brothers and sisters. They didn't make it back from the last camping trip. And so now I've got kids. They want to go someplace nicer than my home. No! We're going to Death Valley in July to hike. I can adopt more children. W is for weight. Latest survey says 2 out of 3 Americans are overweight. Duh. What rocket scientists figure this one out? What'd you do? Go down and send a team of crack researchers down to Cinnabon and go, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope. That'd be 2 out of 3. I mean, it's just too easy to gain weight. There's a restaurant and a Krispy Kreme on every corner. It's not like it is in a bar where they can cut you off. Ma'am, it looks like you've had enough. Yeah, if you go walk that off, we'll see about serving you again. Go ahead. See, I used to want to have a washboard stomach, then the washer and dryer moved in, and the 6-pack is gone, the kegger's now in, and I've quit wanting to look like a Greek god. I'm just trying to not look like Buddha. That's pretty much it for me. It's still in the demigod category, so I'm okay. I mean, my wife kept saying for 22 years, I don't care what you look like. So I finally took her up on her word. For anniversary, she got me a t-shirt that says, don't laugh, he's paid for. X. Yep, it's what you think it stands for. X-rated. Now, I'm again it. I travel a lot. Every time I go to a hotel, the first thing I do is I get the remote and I disable the adult channels. I have a little agreement with God. I don't want people and he doesn't cast my soul into the eternal fires of damnation. So it's a little thing we have. But I was in this hotel, seriously, and I went to disable adult channels, and a picture of a woman came up, and it said, are you sure you want to disable the channel? Yes. And another picture of another woman came up. And it said the hotel keeps no records of the movie you watch, so no one will ever know. Like God can see everything in the entire universe except for that hotel room. Why? Y is for youth. What do they say? You're only as old as you feel. No. You're as old as you are. Deal with it. Youth is the one gift that nobody can appreciate until it's gone. You think you'll always have youth, and you wake up one day and find out that the youth fairy snuck in your room and sucked out all the good stuff overnight. Didn't even leave you a quarter for it. And so you're old. And in this culture, there's no middle ground. You're either young or you're old. And I'm at the point now where my friends are sitting around complaining about what's going wrong with them. My mother-in-law calls them organ recitals. Now, my mother-in-law is doing great. She is 92 and she still plays tennis. She is amazing. I mean, you got to hit it right to her wheelchair, but she is good at the net. She is really good. My mom's starting to have problems, though. And so, it's kind of concerning me. And she goes, well, my hoo-hoo isn't what it used to be. And then my hoo-hoo shut. And what scares me is that I understand what she's talking about now. That's what really frightens me. Youth is wonderful. Hold on to it, but don't hold on too tightly. Have you seen those women that have had just a few too many operations? Just sucking it back there. I run into them every once. I don't know why. They're all in my grocery store. And you just turn the corner and it's like, whoa. And you try not to be startled, but they're like, hello. And you don't know, are you okay? Oh, yes, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. Any second you expect them to say, oil can, oil can. See, this is what life is like. Life is, you start off, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la, ow. 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 Oh.
I love you. You love me. I've lost the use of my faculties.
And then, at some point, it's over. Youth is gone. Everything's gone. And you get to the end. Z for the end. I'm excited about my end. I can't tell you how excited I am. I've got my funeral planned out. I want to make all my relatives sit down and watch a video where I tell them what I really think of them. I'll be dead. What can they do? And then if anybody in the funeral goes, well, he's looking down at us from heaven, I want them to be given a public wedgie right there and then. Then, after I'm gone and they have the funeral, I want to be stuffed, put in my front lawn with a tape recorder underneath that just goes, get off my lawn! That's all I want. And when it's over and it's gone, it's not the death that scares me. I'm excited about where I'm going. I'm so excited. Now, many of you are saying, Bob, I don't think you were getting into heaven. But I figure they got a lot of halls. When Jesus left, he said that he went ahead to build many mansions for us. And he said, if that wasn't true, I wouldn't say so. He's been working on it for 2,000 years. And he's a carpenter, so it should be fairly spectacular. Now, obviously, Christianity is my worldview. That's how I see things. And it's just, to me, Christ is the A to Z. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the author and finisher of my faith, and that's what I believe. And so it drives me crazy. You just don't know how much it hurts when I hear people trying to demote him. Going, well, no, he's a good teacher. That's all. He's just a good teacher. Do we normally kill our good teachers? And Mrs. Smith is Teacher of the Year. String her up! The man claimed to be God. I don't know how many teachers put that on their resume, but I'm thinking the list is pretty small. C.S. Lewis says you got 3 options. He is a liar, he is a lunatic, or he's the Lord. If you're honest, pick one. But choose wisely. It drives me crazy. Every movie I see makes him out to be such a wimp. No. Historically, you've got to understand that he was a carpenter in the 1st century, which means he's buff. He's working with wood. He's making oxen yokes. He's making doors. He's fashioning them by hand. He's picking them up. He's walking around. No, our Savior was a stud. If you're going to cast somebody, cast Arnold. Disciples, throw out your net on the other side of the boat. See, now it is filled with fish. I will help you girl him and bring it in. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, and I will say, hasta la vista, baby. Don't worry, I'll be back. I'm done. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You know what to do.